because of the things that I have learned. I'm always very open to that, Aramis, as you know. Like I'm not even talking necessarily about big things, but just even small things, or maybe also big things. I don't know, but it's probably a little bit different. I think if people were to go back in time, there'd be a little bit of a horror to it. I really do. I think you'd be like, "Oh, this is familiar," but then you'd be like, This is not what I was expecting."
So it's like when you see like a biblical person portrayed in a movie or anything, I mean, they're always like very, I guess, regal, always very elegant. And I'm okay with that. Obviously, I want to respect the elders, but like, what if the people we think are very serious and powerful are actually like very silly and like very weak looking? And the people
Yeah,
who think are very weak are actually very powerful, like if that makes sense. Like
I know what you mean.
I always think of Abraham as being like a very old, wise man with a big beard. What if he was actually like a little bit silly, for example? You know, what if if you actually met Abraham or Isaac or Jacob? What if like the way you imagine them in your head it was different from what they actually were like? You know, but then like Adam, for example, what would the first man be like? You know,
I
would he
know.
be like the most beautiful man ever, tall man, or would he be like I don't know, just like it's completely in the dark. Like some of those Protestants, I remember somebody called Adam an effeminate apple eater. You know, some a Protestant in America was on a commentary about it. They called Adam an effeminate apple eater. And so I'm wondering if they actually met Adam, would they still think that? You know, like how can we look at the
Yeah,
past? How can we look at the first man and call him an effeminate apple eater?
I
I
wouldn't be
mean,
mean to Adam. I would want to learn from Adam because like Adam made mistakes, but like the guy that probably wrote that line that you're thinking of, Aramis, is probably an even bigger fag and a bigger effeminate guy. And also, I mean, what are we gonna pick on Adam for eating a freaking fruit? Meanwhile, we've done the things that we've done. We know that the fathers say, like on the incarnation, for example, by Athanasius, that the sin started out very small, and then mankind gradually kept inventing new evils all the time. And so there are a lot of evils that Adam was completely ignorant of. I think that Adam's criminal record, you could say, is very, I don't know, just like you compare it to like any one of us before we were Christians, it'd be like, this is ridiculous. This is child's play compared to the things that we've done. Adam is like the
oh,
equivalent of like eating, you know, like dessert before he was supposed to. Like he had his cookies before he ate his dinner or something like that. Whereas we are like on the scale of like we took dad's car and drove it into a freaking tree.
we nuked the planet and killed billions of people.
Yeah, yeah. Well, that's my point. Like it's completely out of proportion. And Adam would have been so much more righteous than any of us. And I think if we talked to him, we were like, well, what? How did all this unfold? I think that as well would probably be very different than how a lot of us are expecting it to be. What exactly all of that even meant and how it came about. And, it's like everyone always wants to give the apostles a hard time whenever they're reading the gospels and they're like, wow, they're so dumb. They're not understanding all of these parables are these cryptic things that Jesus is saying, and it's like why don't you be there and be the first person that ever listened to this? You have the benefit of living 2,000 years later in a culture that's like built upon these sayings. Like we incorporate in our daily vocabulary so many things that Jesus said. People that aren't even Christians anymore are always using words that Jesus said or phrases that Jesus said. Whereas the apostles didn't have that benefit. They were like with him and had to deal with it on the spot,
And
talking
modern
about
people,
leaven and the like. And I would be the same. I'd be like, what are you talking about? Leaven? I don't understand. I'd be just as dumb. I'd be more dumb than the apostles.
yeah, I think reading the Bible is a test of your humility as well, because if you have a bad heart, you're gonna look down on those people and puff yourself up, even though you are 1,000 times worse.
Yeah.
And when Luke said this shocking comment, like, every day 200,000 people are aborted and they're all going to God's kingdom. It made me really realize something, that we, the human beings living right now, we're like the trash, we're like the refuse. And it's almost like God's kingdom will primarily be aborted human beings. And so we are like the refuse. We're like the trash. That God's like, okay, you guys are trash, but I'm still gonna sweep you up if you're willing. So it's almost like it makes me feel so bad about myself. Like it removes all any kind of boasting or pride, because it's like, yeah, the majority of God's kingdom are pure infants who are slaughtered by their mothers in the womb or right when they're born. Those are the pure people right there. Those are the worthy ones right there that this world has rejected. And all of us corrupted humans are just like God giving us a little bit of a chance.
Well, a second
People
chance.
that just barely slipped through the crack. Yeah.
Yes.
Right, people that committed many sins. But guys, we must not remember also that there are varying rewards for people in the afterlife, and although they aren't all spelled out, we were just reading one of the fathers saying it again recently. I think it was Origen. He was saying the same thing that Papias says, Nolan, just that there are vastly different rewards. Although
Yes.
all Christians get eternal life. And we know, guys, that although infants are perfectly pure, we don't know what kinds of rewards they will get. So don't think that you, struggling through this life and overcoming sin and doing good works for God, doesn't mean something to God. It means something very great to Him. But Aramis is just
Oh,
making the
yeah.
point. Yes.
You're providing the other side of the cloven hoof right now, but yes, we completely agree with what Luke is saying. You're just saying that for the sake of everybody here, but yeah, Aramis and I are just trying to instill the humble perspective of it.
And that perspective is just that babies are so pure, that's going to be the majority of the people who are in heaven, whereas we have been so defiled by this world and we're being saved narrowly, just like it says in the scripture. The righteous are scarcely saved or barely saved.
Yeah.
Well, I only see 4 people in the Kahoot. Anybody else want to join? No one?
Yeah. Where is everybody?
You're not even. Oh yeah, yeah. You got to share your screens,
Oh,
Luke,
oh,
so we can see
whoopsie
the code and
daisy.
everything.
Oh boy,
Look, also post in the chat. Don't just use the general chat.
I did. I posted in both, guys. So we've got Raheem, Jordan, Corey, and Garrett. Nathan is joining up.
All right, guys, about this quiz, I managed to extract over 40 questions from Polycarp, which I don't know how that's possible.
I don't know how that's possible either.
So, guys, all I gotta say is there's some very tricky, slippery questions here. Do not be too quick to give an answer. That's all I got to say.
Yeah, that's pretty much all Aramis can do. When it's such a short book, all of his questions are going to be trick questions, or they're going to be memorizing nitty gritty details like everybody's name, and you're probably going to be giving us different spellings of names, and we have to click the right one. That's what I'm imagining. We shall see. Just be real cautious, guys. Don't be tricked by the trick questions. Mikey had to go to bed.
Good night, Mikey.
Got Adriano. We haven't started yet, Adriano. Oh, you're in here. Cool. Okay, who are we missing?
We're missing Dante, even though he's in the chat.
Dante, it's time to join up.
We're missing.
Ah, he says he won't be joining this one. That's okay. Well, I think we have everybody then. 8 people.
I don't see Robert in there. Maybe he's just at work.
Yeah.
Nolan should get in there.
No, we've got 8. We've got 8.
Tell Nolan to get in.
Nolan, do you want to do this? Come on, do it with us.
No, I can't right now.
All right, he's too busy. He's editing something important. All right, guys, I'm starting it up. Here we go. Wait a second. Who else joined? Wait a second. Was somebody else going to join? Should I stop it? Should I stop it? Polycarp was the bishop of what location? It has started. Polycarp was the bishop of what location? Syria, Carthage, Rome, or Smyrna? It's a good basic question, Aramis. I approve. No one's allowed to get this one wrong. See? Everybody got it. I didn't exclude anybody, right? If there was anybody that was supposed to be in the call that wasn't there, then go ahead and text. Okay. Next question. Here we go. How is this scoreboard looking? It's Kevon. You happy, Kevon? You're at the top finally. Very impressive, Jordan. Okay, guys. Next question is coming up. True or false? The Christians praised those who turned themselves in to the authorities for martyrdom. Is that true or false that the Christians praised people who turned themselves in to the Roman authorities to be martyred? That is a good question. This is something that multiple church fathers do talk about. Would you be praised in the early church if you went to the Romans and said, "Arrest me, I'm a Christian, kill me"? And the answer is no, that is false. Early church discouraged it. You were encouraged to flee, just like Christ said.
When you give an answer, don't talk too much about
Okay.
it.
Jesus says it. All right. I don't want to give away the other ones, but Jesus did say that if they persecute you in one city, flee to the next. All right. Next question. Who encouraged the martyrs with his patient endurance? Was it Marcianus, Quintus, Nicetas, or Germanicus? Who encouraged the martyrs with his patient endurance? It was Germanicus, another martyr, the one who was martyred before Polycarp. And then it was Polycarp's turn. That's right. Wish we knew more about Germanicus. Ooh, Raheem, jumping to the top. Nice job, Garrett. I see you up here in top 5. Next question. True or false? The multitude accused the Christians of having no religion. Is that true or false? The crowds accused Christians of having no religion. That is true. They called the Christians atheists. That's how little respect they had for Christianity. Didn't even consider it a real... Well, I mean, they also just considered it wrong to set aside the old gods. And Kevon is at the top.
All right.
Here we go. Next question, everybody. True or false? And this is a double pointer. Polycarp wanted to leave town, but his congregation encouraged him to stay because they needed him for moral support. Is that true? Polycarp wanted to leave town, but his congregation encouraged him to stay because they needed him for moral support. I like your very specific questions, Aramis. You'll only know the answer if you read it. And that is, of course, false. It's 45 questions. This is going to take a while to get through. I better move it. Next question. How did the proconsul attempt to dissuade Germanicus from martyrdom? Was it by reminding him of his wealth, by reminding him of his beauty, reminding him of his youth, or by reminding him of his mother? How did that Roman official attempt to dissuade Germanicus from being martyred? Dissuade is the opposite of persuade. It was by reminding him of his youth. Germanicus was not old. All right.
Your whole life ahead of you. What are you doing?
Yeah. And it's so funny when they say that because they're only thinking of your earthly life, but you actually have your whole life ahead of you. Even if you die at 85.
I do, that's right. Thank you for reminding me, sir.
All right, next question. Wow, all over the place. All right, guys, it's still a close game. Next question. What caused Quintus to deny Christ? Was it seeing his gold confiscated by the authorities, seeing his father whipped by the authorities, seeing wild animals, or being thrown into solitary confinement? What caused Quintus to deny Christ? And it was seeing the wild animals. Yep, pretty scary. But you got to reverse it. You got to see it as an honor to die like Christ. All right, next question. According to the book, what was Polycarp's constant habit? Was it visiting the orphans, praying for all the churches, supplying the widows, or giving to the poor? What was Polycarp's constant habit? It was praying for all the churches. Let us do the same. Jordan, look at you at the top. 777. All right, next question. How was Polycarp discovered by the police? Was it a specially trained canine discovered his scent? Or spies followed and discovered him? Or the police looked at a list of all his friends and visited their houses? Or he was betrayed? Yes, he was betrayed by Quintus. Well, wait, was it Quintus? No, it was the other. Okay, I'm sorry. Sorry. Next question. Or actually, let's look at the leaderboard first. My wife is in the lead. Next question. True or false? Double points. Polycarp was betrayed by his pagan friends who wanted his property. Is that true or false? Of course it's false. That was too easy, Aramis. Is a Christian. A cowardly Christian who betrayed him. Next question. What vision did Polycarp receive 3 days before his arrest? Was it a burning pillow, tongues of fire, a burning heart, or sacrificed sheep? It was his pillow catching on fire. Everybody got that? Nice job. Next question. True or false? Polycarp was eager to become martyred without delay. Was that true? It is false. Polycarp fled, just like Christ and the other fathers say we ought to. If they're trying to come kill us, we flee. We don't look for martyrdom, but we accept it if it's pressed upon us. All right. There was a major upset there. Garrett's on the top 5. Nice job, Nathan and Raheem and Kivon. Next question. What was the name of the captain of the police? Was it Pontius, Herod, Agrippa, or Alcee? It was Herod.
I knew Alice would get at least one person.
Where'd you get that Alcee?
It's in the book.
I see. I don't remember that. All right. Next question. The police marveled at what aspects of Polycarp? Was it his speed and quick wit, his gauntness and austerity, his eloquence and strength, or his age and composure? Why did the Roman police marvel at Polycarp? It was his age and composure. Very nice, everybody. Next question. True or false? Double points. Polycarp asked the police to wait outside for an hour so that he could pray. Is that false or true?
Got him. Got him.
He did not ask them to wait outside, but he did pray for an hour.
I don't say anymore.
Sorry, I can't even give the right answer. Irma's saying you're going to give away the next question. Okay, next question. Good job, Jordan and Kavan. You two apparently deserve to be at the top. You're the only one getting that one right. Next question is true or false. The police were furious at Polycarp, and nothing could hold back their desire for his death.
Actually, I think he could answer it. Essentially, he gave him a big meal, asked him to sit down while he prayed.
Yes, they were in the house, it says.
Yeah. So he was being hospitable to his persecutors.
And it is false that the Roman police were furious at Polycarp, and nothing could hold back their desire for his death.
Many of them actually felt kind of sorry for him and why they had such a large aggressive force for an old man.
Yes, they were shocked that they'd all been sent to just arrest an old man. Now, are you going to quiz them about how old he was? All right, we're going to keep going then. Very nice, everybody. Next question. Double points. Polycarp prayed for all these groups of people except which one? The small, the church, the great, or all of these? So all of these would mean he didn't pray for any of them.
No, he prayed for all of them.
Well, that's not... Okay. I'm not sure that's how you write the question, though.
No, he prayed for all of them except which one, or he prayed for all of these.
Oh, if you say except which one, you're being specific. That one, that one, that one, or literally all of these are things that he did not pray for. That's how you worded the question.
Yeah, that's why I put I wasn't exactly sure between the great and all of these, but I read it how you're interpreting it, Luke. So I was like, it must be the great.
You have
Because I
to.
know we prayed for.
Yeah, it's grammar, Aramis.
But even all of these is still not the right answer either. Even if you take it that way.
That is true, guys. Now, even if Aramis's grammar was off, if you ended up denying that he prayed for the great and the small in the church, then you don't remember his prayer.
Yeah, so it still works either way.
So you need to have intuition about his weird grammar.
No, the grammar was not the issue.
All right, next question. What supernatural event occurred when Polycarp entered the stadium? Was it that a voice came down from heaven? There was a lightning bolt? Darkness came over the stadium? Or fire came from above? It was a voice from heaven. Next question. True or false? Everyone in the stadium heard the voice from heaven. It is false. And the next question, true or false? Double points. Polycarp agreed to the proconsul's offer to say, "Away with the atheists." Speaking about Christians being atheists. He said, "Say it, Polycarp." Is that true or false? And it is true. Polycarp did say, "Away with the atheists." But Polycarp pointed to the crowds.
Yes.
He was saying, no, the crowds are the atheists. Away with the atheists. Turned it around on him. All right. Next question. Double points. Polycarp served Christ for how many years? Was it 77, 40, 42, or 86? It was 86 years he'd been a servant of Christ, which is an interesting thing to say, because some people deny infant baptism out there, guys. And I would just say, just how old was Polycarp when he became a Christian, according to these people?
Well, he was baptized at 14, so
It, I
Yeah,
think it had to. I think it had to be when he was baptized when he was a Christian because like he said his feet like he never touched the floor, right? Because the saints would always carry him around, or
we carry him around.
what? Do you know what he's talking about?
No.
no, not carry him around. His feet is when he took off his sandals and he said that his feet never touched the ground.
You're gonna have to
Is that
quote
what
that
he
one to
said?
me, Raheem. I'm not sure what you're referring to.
Maybe I'm misremembering. Maybe I'm misremembering.
I think you're thinking of somebody else. No, I'm just saying even if he were like the Anabaptists say, even if you're not supposed to be baptized until you're like 16 or something, well, if he were baptized at 16 and not as an infant, that would mean Polycarp is actually not 86 years old, but like 102 or something.
Yeah.
Because he says he's been a servant of Christ for 86 years. You see, guys? Do you see how that proves infant baptism? Because otherwise you'd be saying he's 102. Now, of course, it's possible that he's 102, but I don't think he's saying that. I think he's saying he has been a servant of Christ his whole life, 86 years. Anyway, that's kind of a more abstract argument for infant baptism. Next question, everybody. The proconsul tried all of these methods to get Polycarp to deny Christ, except which method? Did he say, swear by the genius of Caesar? Think about your old age? I can have you crucified? I have wild beasts. Which of these did he not say, guys? Yes, it was, I can have you crucified. Pretty much everybody got that one. Next question. True or false? Polycarp did not consider the angry spectators worthy of being taught the doctrines of Christianity. Is that true or false? It is true. He is an example. Next question. True or false? The angry mob demanding Polycarp's death was only comprised of Gentiles. Is that true or false? It's false. Next question. Double points. The mob said all these things about Polycarp except which one? That he was the destroyer of their gods, that he was the father of the Christians, that he was rebelling against Caesar, or that he was the teacher of Asia. Which of these things did the crowd not say? And it was that he was rebelling against Caesar. That was an interesting one. A lot of people got thrown by that one. Next question. Double points again. How did the crowd first want Polycarp to die? Was it torn apart by a bear, killed by gladiators, set on fire, or eaten by a lion? And it was eaten by a lion. That was what they wanted first. Yvonne's back up near the top. Great job, Jordan. True or false? The proconsul sent the soldiers to collect firewood to burn Polycarp. Is that true or false? It's false. But half of the people said it's true. They're mixing things up. Next question. Double points. Which group of people was most eager to collect firewood to burn Polycarp? Was it the idol makers, the Jews, the poets who wrote about the gods, or Herod's police force? Which group of people was most eager to collect the firewood? It was the Jews. What are the Jews doing in this arena? That's just crazy. Wickedness. Next question. Double points. To make sure Polycarp didn't escape the fire, what did his captors do? They tied him with ropes, nailed him to the wood, broke his legs, or put a heavy weight on him. They tied him with ropes. Good job, everybody. Next question. What miracle occurred when Polycarp was set on fire? It started to rain and the fire was put out, or a lion ate the proconsul, or the fire did not destroy him, or Polycarp flew up and disappeared. The fire did not destroy him. That is correct. He turned into a bread loaf, or at least that's what it smelled like. Sorry. I can't say anything now. Not even one sentence. All right. Next question. To the Christians, Polycarp appeared as all of these except which one? Gold being refined, bread baking in the oven, an ox being sacrificed, or all of these? An ox being sacrificed. Yeah, that was never mentioned. Next question. What other sign accompanied the miracle of Polycarp not being burned by the fire? Was it a resounding sound of thunder, a whirlwind engulfing Polycarp, gold raining from heaven, or the smell of incense? Which of these also accompanied the miracle of Polycarp not being burned by the fire? And it was the smell of incense. Next question. When Polycarp's executioners realized Polycarp was not being burnt, how did they kill him? Was it that they dropped a heavy weight on him, they stabbed him with a dagger, they beheaded him, or they unleashed a lion on him? They stabbed him with a dagger. And the next question. What did Christians like to do with the bodies of martyrs? Sit them in a chair and admire them, touch their flesh, dress them in golden raiment, or sing psalms with them? It was touch their flesh. By the way, did you read your version from newadvent.org, Aramis?
No, I told people not to use that one.
Good.
I gave them 3 options: Michael Holmes, and then 2 other websites: Early Christian Writings, and then 1 other website, somebody Harlan. And that's because mostly...
Oh, sorry, I accidentally clicked it. Double points. You can tell me in a second. Which one of these things did not happen when Polycarp was stabbed? A light shone from heaven, a dove flew out of Polycarp, his blood put out the fire, or all of these things happened? It was a light shining down from heaven. Somebody didn't hear the question correctly. Which of these things did not happen? Somebody said a dove flew out. That was one of the most conspicuous things that happened. But it's okay. You guys are doing great. Next question. To prevent the Christians from taking Polycarp's body, what did the authorities do? They hid his body in a cave, they chopped it into many pieces, they burned it, or they threw it into the ocean with a heavy stone. They burned it. And they didn't get rid of the bones. I guess they just didn't expect that the Christians would want the bones. Am I giving away answers already? Okay, next question. Double points. Who incited the authorities to burn Polycarp's body? Was it the devil, the Jews, father of Herod, or all of these? All of them. And nobody got it right. You
I
get
don't remember. I don't remember the Jews asking.
Oh, yes,
I
they
need to
did.
quit on this.
Oh, yes, they did. I got the receipt right here. Yeah, guys, I got the receipt on this one. After the quiz is finished, I'll read it out to you. Hold on tight.
I did
All
ask
right.
Aramis because you may not have known, but there is a longer and shorter version of the Martyrdom of Polycarp, and the longer has some more details added to it. So I was just curious.
But not this question.
Okay.
Let's move on.
Okay, well, we'll keep going then, guys. We'll come back and look at these. Aramis will read you all the quotes on any one that you wanted to hear the passages on.
Yes.
Absolutely nobody got that one. All right, next question. Cremation was whose custom? Was it the custom of the Jews, the Africans, Mediterraneans, or Romans? It was a Roman custom. Next question. According to the book, Polycarp was the something person martyred in Smyrna. The 7th, the 12th, the 3rd, or the 24th person? He was the 12th. Yes, Smyrna's kind of on the outskirts there. I guess it was taking a while for persecution to get that intense over there. All right, next question. Another double pointer. What is the main reason given for why Polycarp's martyrdom is praised? Is it because he offered his persecutors food and drink? He was the 12th and final martyr in Smyrna? His martyrdom followed the pattern set by Christ, or many miracles were performed at his martyrdom? It was because his martyrdom followed the pattern set by Christ. So his behavior was like Christ. Wow. Major upset. Next question. Double points. At the end of the book, Jesus Christ is given all of these titles except which one? The Savior of our souls, the Shepherd of the universal church, the helmsman or governor of our bodies, or he's called all of these things. He's called all three. And the next question, another double pointer. Polycarp directly taught which church father? Was it Papias, Irenaeus, Gregory Thaumaturgus, or Justin Martyr? Who did Polycarp teach? It was Irenaeus, which everybody got.
Well, no, some people didn't answer.
Oh, some people were concerned that they didn't know. That's
well,
all
you
right.
should guess, because you don't lose points, so you might as well guess if you don't know.
That's true. Yeah, guys, don't be too timid. Just click the one that you think might be it. But it was Irenaeus, a very highly respected church father. All right, Jordy, you didn't need those double points. Next question. Who did Polycarp direct this statement to? Yes, I recognize you. I recognize the firstborn of Satan. Did he say it to Gaius, Simon Magus, Marcion, or Valentinus? And this is a story we get from Irenaeus in his book Against Heresies. Some of you guys may not know this, but throw out a guess. Who did he say this to? He said this to one of the heretics. The guy said to Polycarp, "Do you know me?" And he said, "Yes, I know you, the firstborn of Satan." It was Marcion.
Oh, everyone got it right.
Good job, guys.
Well, I think maybe one person didn't say anything.
Alrighty, we're getting near the end. 2 more questions. Here's the first one. Double points. What happened to Irenaeus when Polycarp was martyred? The authorities came after him next. He had a dream about fire. A mighty roar was heard from the sky, or he heard a voice like a trumpet.
Did you not get the message?
I did not get the message, no.
It's in the general chat. There's not every message there.
I see. Yes, Aramis did suggest you guys read the long version.
Not a suggestion, almost like a requirement.
Yes, that was the requirement, to read the long version of the Martyrdom of Polycarp. So if you guys were not getting some of these answers, it's because you didn't read the longer version.
How authentic is the longer version?
I have
Like, is that
no idea.
Well,
Hermes? Do you know?
It's in his book, so it's gotta be legitimate.
What was that?
And that's the Michael Holmes is the long version, right?
It has some added excerpts, which we know those things are true. I mean, we know certain things mentioned. We can confirm those things to be true, but we just don't know. I mean, guys, the way martyrdom accounts go, it's sometimes written by an anonymous person, and then somebody else may add another detail in a manuscript. So just because something is added at a future time, it doesn't mean that it's false. It just means somebody else said, wow, let's add another detail, that may have been left out.
Well, most of this is just somebody saying, I found this and copied it. Here's my name. That's what most of it is. But it's one person with a little bit more information.
Yes. So again, long version is not false. Nobody's saying that, but just in order to get these answers, you would have to read the longest version we have that has some added details. Alrighty, guys. Last question. When Polycarp was martyred, he was in something, and Irenaeus was in where? Rome and Corinth, Rome and Antioch, Rome and Carthage, or Smyrna and Rome? Oh, I can tell you're being tricky. Can you guys tell Rome? It was Polycarp was in Smyrna, Irenaeus was in Rome. It's good to know that Irenaeus got around, because most people think of him just being in France, in Lyon. Alright guys, that was the last question. Let's see how everybody stacked up. Raheem was in third. Kevon was in second. And Jordan was in first.
Congratulations, everyone. Don't worry, Kevon. You'll have your time on the.
Hey, you were second this time, Kevon, instead of third.
No, it's just not meant to be. It's okay. I understand it now. It's all right. This is just where I'm at. I can't be up there.
You're my sunshine. Look at you. Both of you are my sons. That was a very good quiz.
Aramis, I
guys.
need that quote.
Now, the question everyone got wrong, guys, pay attention, okay? This is chapter 17. But the jealous and envious evil one, okay, who is that evil one? We all know who the evil one is. The adversary of the race of the righteous, when he observed the greatness of Polycarp's and the irreproachable character of his life from the beginning, and realized that he was now crowned with the crown of immortality and had won a prize that no one could challenge, saw to it that not even his poor body should be taken away from us, even though many desired to do this and to touch his holy flesh. So he incited Nicetas, the father of Herod, and brother of Alcé, to appeal to the magistrate not to hand over his body. Or else, he said, they may abandon the crucified one man. All this was done at the instigation and insistence. So, guys, Satan incited the Jews, who incited Nicetas, the father of Herod. You guys see that? Did you guys catch that?
I'm still a little confused.
Satan got in the hearts of the Jews, and they encouraged Nicetas to appeal to the magistrate. So it was Satan through the Jews through Nicetas, who finally got the
So
magistrate
I
to
have
burn the
another
body.
question. Why? How were there still Jews in Rome at this time? I thought they had all been expelled, and I thought they'd been expelled since 70 AD at this point.
This
They were
wasn't in. This was in Smyrna.
Yeah, they were expelled from. Well, they were massacred and starved in 70 AD in Judea and Jerusalem, but they were expelled from Jerusalem in 135. But they were still, I think, scattered throughout, right? Like, I know there were also Jews in Alexandria until 415. So they're all over. So yeah, Smyrna, Turkey. I think Jews were in Turkey, like, I mean, well into like past like the Middle Ages up until like recent history.
Thank you, Adriana. Yes, and this took place in Smyrna.
Okay, guys. Next Kahoot is going to be on Wednesday, 8 p.m. It's going to be Justin Martyr's first apology.
That's a good one, Aramis. Everybody's moving through it.
And congratulations to to Garrett. You were you were doing very well for most of it. So congratulations to Nathan as well. He was in the top 5. So and congratulations to Luke's wife for giving us all example of good reading and paying attention to details. And Kavan and Rahim, always steady, consistent. You know, guys, sometimes it's best to be consistent, as opposed to just being, in the spotlight. Sometimes it's best to be second or third place. Because some people have high ups and also high lows. Let me say it again. They have really high highs, but just to be doing good consistently, that's also impressive. That's also.
All right, everybody. Justin Martyr's first apology. That's what we're doing next time. And when is that again, Aramis?
Wednesday, 8 p.m.
Wednesday, 8 p.m. Central.
And then, guys, in case you don't know what we're doing on Saturday, just in case, guys, you guys really want to kind of read up, Saturday we'll be doing the next part of recognitions, which I think is going to be maybe part of book 2 and then book 3. So if you guys want to prepare for Saturday, go ahead and read the next part of recognitions.
So be it.
Luke, you mentioned Nolan was editing a video.
Well, I don't know if he's editing it yet, but Nolan is the
Oh,
fastest.
no. I'm not editing anything. Luke, you're next. You're next. It's on you.
He's writing it, not editing it. I'll get
Well,
available.
it might be something for the website first we can put on the website.
Yeah, I got a lot of stuff like that, Nolan. Honestly, you should just comb through some articles, like ask me about something, and if I can think of anything else to add to it, then we can. But we have so many things. I went and extracted the thing about the gates of Hades, and I did one on the Pope, but there's so many different subjects. Somebody needs to do all the quotes on purgatory, or at least add to it. Somebody needs to do all the quotes on where souls go at death, which is pretty much in the same category. Somebody needs to divide that into 2 categories.
The fathers talk about those things so much, especially where souls go.
I see the quote now, Dante, the one Rahim was referring to, about the people wanting to take off his shoes for him.
Yeah, I understand. Look, can you explain, or what's our best guess? Why would that detail be mentioned? What does it mean? It says he was not in the habit of taking off his shoes.
Because other people, when they saw Rahim come into the house, would want to take off his shoes and wash his feet for him.
Rahim?
What?
You said Rahim.
Well, Rahim was asking.
When they saw Rahim, yeah.
Yeah, Rahim had asked the question earlier in the call.
So they wanted to wash Rahim's feet?
No, Polycarp's feet.
You said Rahim.
Well, they would have washed his feet too if they could.
Wait, say that again. Look, I'm too confused.
They wanted to wash Polycarp's feet if he came into their house.
And he didn't want that.
Well, what do you mean he didn't want that? What makes you think that?
It says he was not in the habit of taking off his shoes. Did you actually?
Well, that's just... I don't know. Maybe he's just refusing honor.
Yeah, look, let's read it, okay?
It doesn't say he didn't like to take off his shoes. It just said he wasn't in the habit of doing it himself because other people would do it.
Wait a second. When the pyre was ready, he took off all his clothes and removed his belt. He also tried to take off his shoes, although not previously in the habit of doing this, because all the faithful are always eager to be the first to touch his flesh. So he wasn't in the habit of taking off his shoes.
Right. Other people would take off his shoes for him. His shoes would be taken off, but not by himself. That's why he was struggling to take off his shoes, because he didn't know how to do it.
Was it that complicated?
I don't know. He just wasn't used to it because other people did it for him. He's also...
And I suppose that was my point. Maybe I'm wrong about this, but maybe he's, as you said, Luke, he's just not used to it. So I think it must have been like when he was like a child, like they were doing this.
Huh?
Because how, like, a grown man, like, he came to the faith, not be able to take off his shoes by himself? It doesn't make much sense.
Well, I think you're missing it, Raheem. It's not talking about when he's a child. That doesn't make any sense either. It's that he, as an old man, always has the faithful offering to take off his shoes when he comes into their house because they want to do him that favor. And no doubt they also want to wash his feet because that was standard hospitality. So he has gone a long time taking off his own shoes, probably many years. You get it?
You mean not taking off his shoes?
Or yeah, he's gone a long time not taking off his shoes. He's not in the habit.
That's pretty good. I like that.
Well, it's the right answer.
I don't know. Maybe it's a reach. It's probably a reach.
Raheem, were you reading it like were you thinking that he didn't know how to take off his shoes? Is that what you were thinking? Okay. But no, I don't know if that's doesn't. It just says he wasn't in the habit of it.
He definitely knew how to take off his shoes. I mean, he knew how. Everybody knows how to take off shoes. I think he was just struggling.
And not like that. Not like that. Like he just wasn't, as you said, like not accustomed to doing it. Like someone would always do it for him.
Right. I'm not sure. Guys, remember that we all have really easy shoes to take on and take off. But back then, people would have laces and things like that. And he's an old man. He's 86. So it takes some work. So he was struggling to do it, and he's not used to doing it, probably for years. Other people are used to doing it. It's not that he doesn't know the method, it's just that it's difficult for an old man. All right, we've spoken enough about the shoes. I think I'm going to go off and do stuff, guys. It was very good seeing all of you.
What are you about to go do, Luke?
I'm going to work hard. I'm going to be productive. I'm going to work on a certain something that you would be proud of.
I see. All right.
All right, farewell, everybody. God be with you.
God bless.